to what we have in store for you. WoomHub is a unique ecosystem builder. We are a growing and scaling group of companies. I am Mbali Hlongwane. I'm the founder of one of the spin-off companies from WoomHub called Cyberfence. I'm also the tech lead at WoomHub, and I also double as the head of research and development in artificial intelligence and extended reality at the CSIR. So wearing many hats this morning. But yeah, from a WoomHub perspective, I think we're very excited to be here this morning to be partnering with Equal Lounge. One of the things we look to do is to attract women into the STEM field. So that's basically one of our main selling points. We also look at bringing capital into the hands of women. So we have an entire pipeline that we've generated, attracting women into the STEM field, incubating their ideas, developing them further, and also then putting capital in their hands. Because we realize that we can only really make a difference once we move money into the hands of females. We've actually been involved in the field of diversity, equity, and inclusion even before it was glamorous to do so. I remember 12 years ago, 15 years ago, us hosting technical challenges at universities, which will now be called hackathons. And we were doing this long ago. We now are operational and running programs in 30 countries across the globe, which is a phenomenal feat. One of the things that we're really very proud of is our partnership that we have with Equal Lounge. This is how we're going to build the ecosystem further. We're also very, very proud of the partnership that we have with Cisco, where we're aiming to democratize technology in this front. We have an Edge Center that's here at our WoomHub offices. You should go check it out. So our partnership with Cisco is also something that's very important to us. Great to see them in the room as well. So WoomHub, like I mentioned as well, is an environment that's looking to accelerate this ecosystem, and we're going to do it through the help of ventures like this. We've been able to date, move $2 million of capital into the hands of female founders, but this is really not enough. And today's opportunity, why we're here today, is actually to facilitate and to build this ecosystem to ensure that we can generate more and we can actually accelerate this ecosystem. So without further ado, I'd like for us to get started. I'm going to hand you over to Mbali. Mbali is one of the founders that have been acquired by WoomHub. She is responsible for developing all of our technical talent. She has done a lot of work, and we're very proud of the work that she's done in ensuring that women do not get left behind when it comes to STEM capacity building. So Mbali, over to you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Can I please bring everybody to the center? I think what a better way of spending the day than to be closer. Thank you so much. We've still got a couple of open seats that I'd please like to fill. Thank you so much. Welcome. Again, my name is Mbali Hlongwane, and we are so excited to be having you guys here today. I think one of the things that I'd like to echo from our previous speaker is how we want to build an ecosystem by holding conversations. More than anything, we believe that there's still so much to be shared within the space of uplifting and developing women within the tech space, and we still believe that there's a lot more conversations that we can still learn from. And we have amazing speakers here today who are going to not only share the experiences, but are going to share the good and the bad, so that we walk out of the session with not only lessons, but we walk out of the session also uplifted and inspired. To kick off today's panel, we've got the good, the bad, and the funding. We've got Celina Lee, the CEO and co-founder of Zindi, who will be joining us as one of our panelists. Please give it up for Celina. We've got Lauren Gamsu from Embrace. Lauren, can you please also join us? We've also got Janet Sawari, who's the CEO and founder of Celina Labs. Then we've got Devon Krantz, who's the founder of the Web3 Sanctuary. Welcome. Again, as I briefly mentioned, we're joined by these amazing ladies this morning to dive into the good, the bad, and funding. So I believe the majority of us in this room are entrepreneurs, and one of our biggest questions is, how are you so successful? How are you doing it? Where do we access this funding, and how do we actually do it? And so I'd like to first give the mic down to our speakers who are going to do a brief introduction of themselves, share a bit about their backgrounds, who they are, and where they come from. Thank you so much, Lily. Celina, over to you.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me. My name is Celina, and I'm the CEO and co-founder at Zindi. Zindi is the largest platform for data and AI practitioners in Africa. We have over 72,000 people on the platform who are building their skills and building their profiles and finding job opportunities on the platform. We're in 52 out of the 54 African countries, and for companies, we're helping them source talent, source solutions, and build up their own skills.
Thank you so much, Celina. Over to you, Lauren.
Hi everyone, it's really awesome to be here. My name is Lauren. I'm actually an architect by profession. Very quickly realized I'd rather be an entrepreneur. So I started my own company at 27. I ran a design and build construction company for about 11 years before exiting last year. I've also been on the investor side, so I've been an angel investor as part of Dazzle Angels, which basically invests in early stage women businesses. And I'm an LP at 535 as well. I've recently gone back into the entrepreneur space, so I've started a women's health platform called Embrace. So we're very early stage, we're going to launch at the end of the month and hopefully look for a round of funding in the next couple of months.
Thank you so much.
Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Janice Sawari, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Celina Labs. And basically what we are is a technology advancement, innovation and research lab with a general or broader vision of driving industrialization on the continent by making spaces and opportunities available for individuals and corporates to build hard tech, mainly in the edge computing space. We're also the team behind the product called X-Vision Illuminate, which transforms CCTV footage into industrial insights for operational insights, security insights, and compliance insights. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Devon. I'm the CEO and founder of Web3 Sanctuary. Web3 Sanctuary is a next-gen edtech platform that's aiming to onboard the next generation of Web3 developers and users. I've been in the blockchain Web3 space since early 2015, 2016 already. And my first company in the space was actually a blockchain software development agency, which is where we started to realize that there was a massive skills gap in the space, which is what we're now trying to solve for. So we're actually launching our platform a little bit later tonight, and I'm excited to be on this panel with all of you and chat more about the good, the bad, and the fun.
Thank you so much. So I'll basically have a question for the panelists, one question per person. They will then answer that question. At the end of those questions, we'll then be able to open it up to the floor for any questions that you guys may have for our panelists. So first question goes over to you, Devon. So successfully exiting a previous company and now building and raising for your company, what have been some of the challenges and highlights that you faced?
So working in the Web3 space, it's a pretty seasonal space, I guess. When the bull market's going well, we're doing well. When there's a bear market, we fold and we focus. So my previous company, actually, we managed to grow it, or I managed to scale it from 4 people to 50 people over about 2 years. And it was an incredibly challenging space to be in a service-based type of industry. But our team really loved what we were building. We loved our clients. The technology was super, super interesting. I just came to realize, I think after a while, that working in such a massive company wasn't exactly what I wanted for myself. I love taking companies from 0 to 1 and really getting them going. But the moment that there's too many KPIs and weekly management meetings, and I don't actually ever get to see my clients or my employees, it starts becoming less fun for me. So I actually did a succession plan over to the next CEO for my previous company. And it was a 6-month plan. It was quite challenging, and it's quite difficult, I guess, to communicate that as well to your team members and let them know like nothing is wrong. It's just that I want to start something new, and that's Web3 Sanctuary. So communicating that, because through the problem that I guess I found in the previous company, that there was an existing need for what I wanted to build next was an easier transition for me, and my team was very, very supportive of it. So that I basically started again this year in March with a brand new team. We managed to actually get funding from CBVC and CB Labs in Switzerland for our idea. And we've been spending the past few months now actually building and tracing out our project and our MVP and testing it with a whole bunch of people. It's been incredibly exciting again, I guess, like going from such a massive team to such a small team and just something that's working and functional to something that's basically starting from scratch again. But I guess we're starting from experience this time, so it's been really fun. But there's been many, many long nights, and we're now we're starting our next fundraising round again as well. So I think that there's always challenges in this space, especially in this bear market that we're making around. Looking for new funding again. So yeah, sorry, that's a bit of a long-winded response to a question. But
Thank you so much. And again, as I mentioned, at the end of the questions, we will definitely be opening it up to the floor for any questions that you guys may have. So over to you, Lauren. And our question for you this morning, Lauren, is you're an LP in 535 Ventures and a Dazzle Angel that has moved from investor to entrepreneur. As you get ready to raise, how are you preparing yourself and setting yourself up for success?
Thanks. I think firstly to say it's a lot more intimidating being on the raising side than on the investor side. But there's definitely quite a lot of lessons that hopefully taking with me as I'm looking to raise in terms of what I've seen being an investor. So I think the one thing that I'm doing is starting to build up my networks before I actually raise. So one of the things I realized is that a warm intro is just so much more effective than a cold intro. So we're probably a couple of months away from raising, but really just putting myself out there, starting to meet people in the industry, starting to find investors, chat to them, seek advice, and really just make sure that when it does come to the point where I want to raise, that people already know who I am. I think that's really important. And I think the second thing that I've realized is to stay focused on the main thing. So our singular drive at the moment is build an MVP, get it to market, and make sure that we're building something that people actually want. I think it's very easy to get distracted. I think there's competitions, and you can sit in branding, and you can talk about features, and there's so many things you actually do as an entrepreneur that it's sometimes hard to realize that what you're really trying to do is build a product that people want and will pay for. And that's, when you come to the investor table, that's what they want to see. So we really, really just focused on building a product that, in our case, is for women, that women love and want. And yeah, I think those are sort of the two key ways that we're prepping ourselves for success.
Thank you so much, Lauren. The next question is for you, Celina. Zindi has raised a seed round, and 535 Ventures is one of your investors. What has been the challenge and opportunities you are seeing right now for entrepreneurs actively fundraising?
I'm curious how many of you are fundraising right now or will be fundraising soon. Okay. Just to know kind of where we're starting from. So Zindi's been around for over 5 years now, and about 2 years ago we raised our seed round of $1 million. 535 participated in Founders Factory Africa, Launch Africa, and the round was led by Shakti Ventures, which is in San Francisco. What are the challenges? So, I mean, to be honest with you guys, and you guys can ask questions later, we did try to raise last year. We were running out of runway and we were going out to market to raise. So there's a lot of challenges right now. I mean, I think that, you know, I'm a first-time founder, so all of this has been learning to me. It's been a steep learning curve, and I think last year was probably the worst time to launch a fundraising round. But I think that in some ways, well, what one of our investors have said is that the good thing, moments like these are very scary, but it's actually, you can actually look at it as a huge opportunity, because the companies that manage to survive through a moment like this, a global economy like this, will be the winners. And so so I think the challenges are fundraising is very tough right now. A lot of VCs that I've talked to are still raising themselves and struggling to raise. So there's just not a lot of capital out there. So I think that we have to, as entrepreneurs, we have to start thinking more creatively. We have to think out of the box, leverage the resources that we do have, including good advice. And yeah, I mean, and you can also flip it on its head and say that this is also a meaningful opportunity for those of us who are able to weather the storm that we're in right now.
And maybe one of the questions, Celina, is what are some of the opportunities that you're seeing for these entrepreneurs that are fundraising at this moment?
Well, I think like Lauren is saying, it's like what investors are now, you know, the shift in the market is that investors are now much more stringent in terms of their requirements and what they're looking for, and they can be a lot more picky, and they can be a lot more demanding. The due diligence will be a lot more strenuous. So I think that the opportunities are to look for alternate pathways. And I think, just to be honest, like where Zindi was, and when we weren't able to raise, what one of our investors talked to us about is that think of revenue as equity-free capital. And that is, you know, for every deal that you make with an investor could be actually a deal that is equity-free that you make with a major enterprise, enterprise-type client. So you can put your efforts, so I think that there's opportunities in just refocusing the business, because that also puts you into a better position. Not only do you have more capital, but you also are in a better position when you do talk to these investors whose bar has went from here to here.
I think, like what you just mentioned now, like finding other more creative ways of fundraising, or like trying to prep to at least like this next period. A big thing that we've been doing is applying for grants, lots and lots and lots of grants. So across like protocols and other different things, also equity-free opportunities to just further yourself and onboard a new technical partner. So like grants is a big one for us, and revenue hacking, like you mentioned.
Thank you so much for that. The last question is for Janet. So Janet, what has been some of your bold moves that you've made when it comes to fundraising?
I think there are a lot of bold moves that I've generally made with my journey at Labs. First of all, being audacious enough to dare to say, oh, we want to build this, business that enables moonshot type of IP to come out of it. It was really hard initially to even communicate what that really looks like in terms of the commercial opportunity to investors, and then even convince the customers that it made sense to build it here on the continent and what that would look like within the next decade or 2 or 3. So I think I'll tell 2 stories that are quite interesting. So the first actual investor I pitched to was from Amadeus Capital. And I sat on a Zoom call, it was at an event like this, and I straight on pitched $100 million to build a VTOL jet. And I had been told that within the first 3 or 5 minutes, if what you're saying does not fly, they will cut the call. And I sat there for 40 minutes, and I talked about how we were going to take $100 million and build a VTOL jet. But here's what's interesting about this story. If he had cut the call in 3 or 5 minutes, I don't think I would be here. We didn't get the 100 million, but I got something even more, useful. Because out of that call, I got a mentor, and then out of that call, he wrote down every single thing that I was talking about and showed me where the value was. And then I took where he pointed out the value was, and then started to build the business and rethink, what am I actually trying to do? Am I trying to build a VTOL jet? Or did I have this grand vision that in the next 10, 20, 30 years on the continent would be driving industrialization through building hard tech? Second story is about a customer. Again, at another event. I think I'm selling events now. But these panels are really important, and the relationships we build at these events can really change your life. The second story about funding I'm going to tell you is, the creative one, the revenue-based one. Thinking around, all right, if I'm not going to go to a private equity investor or a bank or a VC, who can I go to? I think the first point of order is your client. But this client came to me. I'm on a panel talking about what I do, and at that time, we had just built X Vision to do very basic things. So counting people, counting animals, pointing out who is a thug and who is not. So very boring things. And then this client comes up to me, potential client goes, we have a facility in India, and we go through lots and lots of scrap metal, and we hire hundreds and hundreds of supervisors and foremen to do the actual screening of the scrap metal. Is it possible that you could build a model, train a model around the classification of material, specifically metal? All I did was say yes, quickly went onto a research site, started researching papers, looking at mathematical models and trying to understand how precise could I train a model around it. Within a week, we were already talking about going to a facility in India, and within a month, I'd signed on my first big pilot project. And I figured out there was more than one way of raising money. Talk to the client, figure out what other ways can you, what other areas can you apply what you're doing. Having that tunnel vision for me was not useful, but when I brought in the scope and thought creatively around how can I actually get a client to fund my business and let them know, with full transparency. We told him we had not trained the model yet, we had trained the model for other things, and he said, okay. And we told him it could fail, and he said, okay. We told him we don't need 3 or 6 months for this particular pilot, we're going to need 24 months because it's that difficult. And he said, okay. And then now we're at a point where we're trying to figure out how to bring, once again, another creative way to bring capital resources in by having a strategic partner who is bigger than us, who are developing microchips, so we don't have to do that, and then build an on-the-edge IoT device to help us process and train, material classification, which is also really difficult for scrap metal. So I don't know if that's bold enough, but it's bold enough.
Sounds really bold to me.